In this video, we're going to look at domain and range of a function. Once we know we have a function, that means each x has one y, each input goes to one output, then we can find a domain and range of it. So the domain is the set of input values. So domain, you're thinking input, whereas range is output. It's out on the range. Output for range, input is domain. So representing the domain and range using interval notation. Closed intervals means that they include endpoints. Open intervals mean that you exclude your endpoints. So if A to B is closed, that means numbers from A to B including A and B. Whereas if you have the round parentheses, that's an open interval. That means numbers A to B, but not including A and not including B. These can also be half open or half closed, however you want to say it. Where one endpoint is included because it has the brackets and one endpoint is excluded because it has the round one. So square includes endpoints. Round excludes endpoints. And then you can be somewhere in between. You could include one side and exclude the other, or vice versa. Exclude one side and include the other. So let's look at this using some real life examples. So we want to express the following statements in interval notation. So Harry's GPA is more than 2.0, but at most a 4.0. So we're going from 2.0 to 4.0 for Harry's GPA. So can we be 2.0? That's going to tell us whether we want to use a square, which means we want to include it, or a round, which means we are going to exclude it. It says it's strictly more than a 2.0. So it's not including a 2.0. It's got to be bigger than that. It could be 2.01. It could be a 2.1. It's just got to be more than a 2.0, which is typical actually for scholarships. But the school caps out you cannot do better than a 4.0. So at most a 4.0. Is it possible he can get a 4.0? Yes, so we're going to include that. It'll be hard, but it's possible. And this is actually a pretty typical domain for GPAs and scholarships. A lot of times you have to have more than a 2.0, and then at most you can have a 4.0. So this round parentheses means excluding 2.0. It's got to be bigger. Some scholarships are 3.0. Those are a little bit harder, but then this means including 3.0, just to give ourselves a note. Okay, now Kayla is guessing her quiz grade. She's looking at her quiz, she's checking it over, and she's thinking, hey, I think I at least got an 80 on this, but I don't think I got any more than a 95. So haven't we all done that before, where we finish a quiz and we go back and we try to grade ourselves to see what it'll be? That's what she's doing here. She says at least an 80, but no more than a 95. So should we include or exclude those numbers? So at least an 80. So 80 is our bare minimum. We're going to include that. She thinks she got at least an 80, if not an 80.5 or something like that. But no more than a 95. So can she get a 95 and that would still be no more than 95? Yes, I could say I'm going to give you $5, but no more. I can still hand you that $5 bill. So she can get a 95. So at least an 80. So an 80 or better, but a 95 or worse. So 80 to 95, we're including both of our endpoints. The next one's an important one to interpret when you're thinking about getting a job. You read that the starting annual salary at that position you're applying for is anything from $100,000 to $150,000, depending upon experience. So $100,000 to $150,000, depending upon experience. So could they pay you $100,000 based upon this advertisement? Yes, that's the starting salary. You could get $100,000 and they're going to cap you out. The most you can make is $150,000.